Okay, so thanks for tuning in. This particular upload called Finding the Zone is a little bit longer than I really wanted it to be, but the issue is the earlier weathering clips that I uploaded, parts 1, 2, and 3, with the CN locomotive here, really doesn't do the technique justice, and I want to try to encourage those that are maybe getting into weathering, maybe even for those that are really good at it anyway. Some of this you can add to your toolkit, but I want to make sure that I can close this particular series out with a video that is a little bit more thorough and explains things a little more clearly to help those that maybe are considering it or maybe afraid to even try it, right? Because it is a great method, and there is a type of zone that you get into when when you get the paints going and you got time alone, and that's really when you produce your best results. And so with this particular upload, I hope you don't mind that it's a little bit longer than normal, and I hope that it serves the purpose that I had planned in describing the method a little bit more clearly. I couldn't add the isopropyl wash technique at the end because it's already in parts 1, 2, and 3 weathering through the Sfumato series there. If you go back in the chronologically in the content, you'll see it there. Okay, so thanks for tuning in. I want to share this information as clearly as I can and encourage you just go for it. Don't, everyone's afraid. I'm afraid too sometimes. When I get a new model like this one, oh no, I don't want to, look, what have you done? You put all this mud all over your model. Just go for it. And the fear goes away once you get into the groove, as they call it. You get into a zone. Turn the phone off, don't be distracted. Find 1 or 2 hours to get alone, and then just go for it. You get into a zone, and then some of the best work that you'll do will come out of that at some point. Okay? Watch this. Don't be discouraged. Oh, it looks horrible. Yeah, so just keep working it like that. Let it dry, and then you'll see the next one you put on. Don't be afraid to really thin it down too, and have lots of water in the tray on hand to just always dip your brush. Some people use a little bit of parchment too with acrylics to keep them soluble. But yeah, let's see. The side frame here is going to take a few layers to start getting some grip there. I usually just begin, as in this case, it's just sort of some muddy color that's just come about from white, gray, and brown, and I just drop on a puddle like this. It's similar to the one that I showed with the yard office. Okay, so that's what I do. It doesn't really like, there's still quite a bit of tension there, but that's okay. That's usually the way it is. Like these Vallejo water-based colors on top of a type of flat coat like this takes a while for things to settle out. I can come at it with isopropyl alcohol later and move some of this around or reactivate it or even wipe it away. Okay, so that's what I'm doing here. This is almost a brown sort of derivative of these colors. Nothing specific, but that's what I do. I just build it up like that. And then what happens is I'll just show you my CN unit here that I'm still working on. You can see the roof here. This is a particularly heavily weathered model. There's quite a few layers on here. But this was resealed again, and then it muted a lot of it out, so I'm doing another one. So I've laid on just variations of burnt umber, white, and dark sea gray. Not all at once, just in separate layers. I don't always let them dry in between either. but you can see what's happening, and then they'll run off into each other and create their own little mini little flood marks and so on. That'll all work in your favor eventually. So you look at here, here's a part here. See that there? That's just water over top, like water-based dark sea gray. Running down, tilting the model, playing around with it a bit, and I kind of like that, but I can mute that down. If I sprayed that with, to me, a flat coat, a lot of that would go away. It would be muted even more. Right? Yeah, so don't be afraid to break tradition. Watercolors are safe, they're environmentally friendly. Um, you can put light washes anywhere you want at will, and if you don't like it later on, and if they're very thinned down, um, and you like weathered locomotives, then there's nothing to lose, right? See how I'm letting that light colored earthy go into the engraving there? Normally, traditionally, we say, oh no, that should be darker color. Well, just wait and see what happens when that dries, and you might think twice about that. See, we get used to the just traditional methods, and they're good, right? We want to use all of it. They're all tools and methods that we can mix together, but don't be afraid to try other things, right? That's what it's about, right? Like that's, this hobby has been evolving since it first began, and learn to use your paint kit that you have and play around, learn to mix colors. Let me also mention too that don't be worried if you basically turn all your selected paints into mud, because that's just part of learning it. But after a while, like after experience, you begin to learn how not to do that so much. Like there's an old saying with artists, professional artists anyway, that it turned out muddy. That's because you end up with the one, like you mix all your colors completely into one big base wash, and learn to just move paint around, but not, like, don't be afraid to I'll just show you with this, like, don't be afraid to put a color like that, and then one like that, and then come back and go with some water, lots and lots of water, right? Lots and lots of water. A lot of that's going to go away. Soak it up with a brush too. Just keep it wet. That's really what, keep the surface wet. And just relax. Like, get seated and get comfortable, and keep it wet. And remember, when this dries, it's going to change. And if you don't like some parts, just come at it. You won't be able to reactivate it with water, but you will with isopropyl alcohol. Something else I just want to mention quick too is use photos to, inspire yourself. But don't be afraid to put the photos away. Turn off the computer and just start to go with some of your instincts. We look at lots and lots of photos, right? Thousands. Don't take for granted that they're not there in your conscience. They are. And so don't get too hung up on photos. Photos, you can have too many photos and they just bog you down, Just go with instincts after a while. And, you'll be surprised at some of your results, right? I mean, that's ultimately what an artist does anyway, right? That's that artistic license where you break away from reality to a point, and then the end result becomes more your creative process, how you express what you see. And you can express that in our models, right? You know how you see the sides of these top hoods, they sort of have a funny kind of heat stain or peeling or oxidization. You just do that with white, right? A little bit of white like this, and then nice to have a little bit of dirty water maybe, and then just flood it out a bit. Lots of water, right? Furthermore, I use distilled water. It's cheap, a couple bucks for a gallon or something. Right? Just no minerals in it. Some say that affects the paint, but I just do it because, I mean, I don't even know if it really makes that much difference. It depends on the water probably in your area, but I just use it anyway just to be traditional in that sense, I guess. But people say to use distilled water, so if you want to use regular water, that's okay too. See this paint here, you don't want to leave it too long, right? Because but the longer you leave it, the more the distinct the flood mark will be. See? Take the center of the flood mark out. Yeah, just have fun. Take lots of risks, and you know, at least with watercolor paint, you know, you can always wipe it away again. And then you might like it. You probably will when you wipe it away. You go, oh, geesh, you know, I never thought of that. Wow, look at that. Right? That's how you learn how to do it. That's how you learn the advanced techniques. And then you realize they're not really advanced as you thought. They're just, it's just about taking chances. I mean, some of the great artists, like look at Jackson Pollock, right? What did he do? One day he was painting in a barn or whatever in his studio and spilling paint. He started spilling paint, really thin paint, and then he built a whole career just with squeeze bottles of paint, pouring it on and doing it in a way, right? I mean, so when you get to a point like this where you've built up a few layers and just randomly just walk away from it, put it away, just slide it aside, and that's what I do. I just leave it now for a day or two, or maybe a few hours. It's up to you, but I like to walk away and just put it out of mind and then come back to it and say, okay, so now what do I want to do here? Okay, so thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.